Bonjour everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk, the L'Oréal Professionals Hybrid Masterclass accessible to all and powered by our global creative contributors. This is where we decode trends, translate them into real salon services, and help you turn these techniques into business growth and client loyalty. I'm Philippe Zemit, Global Head of Education for L'Oréal Professionnel, and I'll be your host for today. We are broadcasting live from here, our L'Oréal Professionnel headquarters, Le Visionnaire, in the heart of Paris. You're joining us on Access, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, from all over the world, on your phone, in your salon with your team at home, or in your academies for our watch parties in Bucharest, Budapest, Warsaw, Jakarta, Mumbai, New Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, and much more. Thank you for being with us. A very warm welcome also to our guests here, mainly our guests from France. Thank you for joining us after your working day. It's a real pleasure to welcome you. Throughout the show, you can drop all your questions on the chat, and Noémie, our chat manager, will bring them in as we go when they can help clarify the technique, the gesture, and or any kind of steps for the transformation. In the same time, in the chat, you have access to several translation languages. So please take a look, and if you want to add English subtitles, same as on YouTube, activate with the CC button. Today, we are going to talk about an essential topic for professionals: how to enhance a hair color with the perfect haircut. Or, in another way, how a haircut can strengthen a transformation and make the final salon result much more impactful. Jacob Kahn will be your host for today. He will be presenting 4 models for 2 haircuts, a shag and a long layer, along with 2 demonstrations on the dolly heads to have a clear understanding of the steps. You'll see that sections of haircut will match perfectly the color sections to enhance lines and shape. Throughout the show, we will also have our new segments, Tip Talk, Money Talk, and Social Media Talk, to keep in mind for your success. So, only tips to really help you be a better hairdresser and a more profitable hairdresser tomorrow. Today, we are very to welcome Jacob Kahn. He is known for his educational, direct, creative, and accessible approach to hairdressing. He knows how to make techniques easier to understand, easier to apply, and above all, more connected to the real life in salon. Let's discover his portrait.
Let's roll camera.
Education really inspires me to create. Like the moments when you have to explain the why to somebody and you have these moments of clarity, they can be really kind of powerful. And I'm usually super inspired to create after leaving a class that I was taking or teaching. Our hands are our most important tool. I mean, your hands are like the bridge between what's up here, you know, maybe what's in here and what you can actually make out here. So without it, we're sort of useless without our hands. It's the most important thing.
Thank you very much, and please, Jacob, come with us. Welcome, Jacob. Welcome, my dear. A pleasure to have you in Paris under that very warm weather.
It's been so much fun. Whether the weather was warm or not, it's been really a blast. So it's been great.
Fabulous. Yeah. For those that doesn't know, connected elsewhere in the planet, in Paris, there's a huge heat wave these weeks, and so we are not used to have this type of temperature, even less under the amazing dome of the Visionnaire.
It's worth it for the view of the dome, though. I mean, this thing is amazing.
For the heat, a bit less. But so to move ahead, Jacob, you're known, as I was saying, for your cutting skills. You're like a character in the industry. You know how to really engage in huge audience, stage performing, and also on social media. But before looking at like what you're able to do in cut, let's move back in the time. How did it all start? How did you start hairdressing?
Well, I started doing hair because as a teenager, I was like deep into like punk music, and all my friends were in bands, and everybody wanted to have really fun hair, but no one had any money, you know, to get the hair done. So at some point, I just said like, I'll try and do it. Let me do it. And then eventually, I was just doing everybody's haircut in the local scene, and then I went to hair school, and the rest was history after that.
And the rest is history. And the rest is history. I love that. Okay. So we'll see what is history together during this live. I think the audience is like craving to look at the two haircuts. Our guests also here. So rather than like words, we'll have time to discover more about your career and also your vision of the new industry. Let's welcome our two models, please, girls. Our two models for the long layers. Welcome. Fantastic. Please, let's be in the middle.
Yep.
And so.
Let me grab my notes as well, so I have all of my formulas available for you guys. But, so the thing that we're trying to have come across in this lesson is the connection between cut and color, how you can plan your color placements to match your haircut. So what we've done is I'm showing you two different colors that use exactly the same placement, and then we're gonna use those same placements to do the haircuts as well, the same subsectioning to do the haircuts. So for Emma, actually, we'll start over here, sorry.
We have to start with, if you can start with Emma.
I'll start with Emma, okay.
It's better because we can also have like the visuals. You very soon gonna have
your diagrams will be up.
The diagrams and the before and after and the section and the recipe that are coming online.
So Emma came in with a little bit of her grow out. Her base is of the darker base. So what we did is we used 3 panels that are sort of rounded panels. One that goes around her entire hairline, then one more, and then one more at the crown. At the hairline, we're doing foils all the way to the scalp, back-to-back foils to the scalp. In the second panel, we're spacing those foils out a little bit more, and we're back combing, so we're getting more depth, more dimension. And then through the crown panel, we actually mostly just did tip outs, where we're leaving her base. We broke it up with a couple of little horizontal weaves, because her base was just a little dark. But besides that, we're mostly just doing tip outs. So we see this gradient of lighter to darker as we go. And for her formulas, we use Blonde Studio 9 20 volume for all of her lightening. And for her toners, we just used a simple Diacolor 6N with a 9 volume at her base. And then through her mids and ends, we used 9.82, 10.32 with a 9 volume through her mids and ends to give us this sort of, I wanted it to feel kind of natural, sunny, not too ashy, to give us this nice, like rich, shiny blonde. But yeah, so that's what we did for her color. And then for her cut, we did exactly those same placements to create the layer. And I'll demonstrate that haircut for you in just a moment. And for her color, we'll switch you guys out real quick. I'll bring you up. She has a little bit of a lighter base color. So for her, we didn't have to do as many of those foils through the crown panel, but the same placement otherwise. So those 3 sweeping panels all the way to the scalp, spaced out with back combs, and then just tip outs through the top. Still Blonde Studio 9 with 20 volume. For her base, we lightened that up just a little bit. That's gonna be 7.3. I'm sorry, this is gonna be my shag model tones. Let me make sure I'm getting that right.
You have it here on the screen, so our audience also have it on the screen.
Yeah, so we're using Blonde Studio 9.
Blonde Studio 8.
Oh, so Blonde Studio 8 through her panels through there. And we lighten up her base, mixing it with a little bit more of a 7. And through her mids and ends, we're using a 10.23 with just a little bit of a 7.23. It's like every ounce of 10, we're maybe adding like 5 grams or so of that 7. We lifted her maybe only to a 9. So I wanted to have that little extra pigment to make sure that we had enough to give us the tone that we were looking for. And we just get this really beautiful, seamless blend. And then again, we use that exact same placement to do her cut in just a moment.
Okay.
Perfect.
Amazing. Perfect.
Yeah.
Ladies, please stay with us so we can like refer to the color you have like during the presentation. And now we could welcome our third model.
Our next model here.
Which is not very like, no, she doesn't speak much, okay? She doesn't speak. Thank you very much, Shweta, for your help. Thank you for your help.
A very quiet client, this one.
And so let's have a look at like the steps, different steps for the cutting.
Perfect. We'll get right into it since we have so much to show you guys. You'll be able to
have
see...
like plenty of sections first.
Yes, we have our...
no.
I'm sorry?
Oh no.
What?
Like sectioning or no sectioning?
Well, for me, in the salon, what I prefer to do really, like the reality of me in the salon is I don't do a lot of pre-sectioning and clip up every section in advance. Even if I've planned out the haircut, I'll usually section as I go in case I want to make changes. A lot of the time, if I was doing a bunch of pre-sectioning, I would get halfway through the haircut and think, oh, this one's a little too big. I got to take a little bit of hair from this section. So it worked easier for me to kind of progressively work through the cut. But as you see your diagrams here, if you're trying to follow along or you try to do this haircut later, you could always pre-section and clip everything up. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we're going to start off with our first panel, which is going to be the triangle panel in the front. And this is like really the only difference in the sectioning pattern from the color is that we take this triangle panel a little further back than our actual like halo panel was. Let me grab a couple of clips here. And we're going to be working on this dry. The reason I'm working on it dry is because I want to color first as often as possible and then color to the shape of my haircut. And a lot of time in the salon, it's easy to start a haircut dry and that gives you your roadmap to place your color. For this, what we're going to do is work outside of our fingers. We want a soft finish with this, almost like a razor. Like this is a great way to approach a client who needs a razor cut, but is very afraid of a razor. We're going to condense the sections a little bit too to make this go along a little faster for the live. We've just pulled this out at 45 degrees. We're lifting up and then opening our scissor just a little bit. We're going to drop that scissor down into the center of this section, and then we're going to carve through. When I say carve, as we lift our scissor away from that section, we're carving and closing the scissor, kind of softly whittling through that section until we get all the way through. That'll give us that space in the center. That'll be our guide for both sides. Then we go from here to there. Just tilt your scissor to the side, carve out shorter, out to longer in the corner there. Come back up to the top, find your length, and then carve out shorter, out to longer in the opposite direction. If you look at my body position, I'm standing a little off to the side so I'm not blocking this section, the view of the section. But if I were in the salon, I would want to stand almost right in front of this because if you're standing off to the side, there's probably a good chance that you may make one side a little bit shorter than the other side. So if it's uneven, that's why. It's not because of anything else. So what we're going to do, though, one thing I love about dry cutting is that if we blow dry first, we prep this mannequin by blow drying with a round brush, and that just allows us, as we cut, we can mold and style this mannequin with our fingers so our clients are seeing those end results right away. So rather than having to like wait until we blow dry to see the result of the cut, you get one section cut and they're able to really start seeing that shape and everything happen. I think it's one of the many benefits of cutting this way. It's going to make your client feel very comfortable with the changes, and every little step of the way they're going to know exactly what it's going to look like. Now, our next panel back, we're just going to take a sort of vertical panel that stops right behind the ear. The mastoid process, if you will, if you know the bones of the head, which I always say, I love to say the bones of the head because it makes me feel like I'm smart. It makes me feel like a doctor. The only thing that makes me feel like a doctor. And for this panel, the first panel, we had our client looking straight ahead. Now what we're going to do is tilt our model or client or mannequin down just a little bit, and then we're going to stand right in the front. We're going to use this center section, our first section for the bangs, as a guide. Again, you can break this into as many subsections as you need to based on the density of your client, but I'm just going to pull all of this up in one. We're going to then flip our hand over. When you're holding this section, I want you to see the knuckles of your finger, not the palms of your finger. So we see our knuckles. We come up over the top. I'm going to comb this hair so it's hanging forward that way. I've got my guides right here, those shorter pieces, and then we're going to do a parallel point cut where we break all of this up and create a lot of texture in that section. You see how much hair is in front of my fingers? I want there to be a good amount of hair in front of your fingers so you can go deep into this. Now, we're doing a parallel point cut, not a diagonal point cut, meaning that we're trying to keep the hair, the scissor, the same angle as the hair. So I'm not coming in this way, I'm coming in this way. That way it stays really, really soft. It has texture, but it's not chunky. It will feel kind of like seamless as it falls. And then if we follow this down, because of the elevation that we use when we cut that section, we're cutting basically a square line here at the top. But when we drop it, we can see it falls shorter all the way down to longer, and it gives us this really nice, like seamless face frame that kind of blends all the way through already. And that way we don't have to come back. Like if you've cut a face frame on wet hair, a lot of the time I feel like you blow dry, you come back and you texturize and you soften it. If we're working this way, we've done both at the same time. We've created our softness and our texture.
Jacob, online there's like a first question which is like purely logistics. So can we have the replay available in order to be able to look at the haircut, the steps, in order to do it, of course, at home? Obviously, yes, you can. You will have access to the replay on YouTube and on Access, of course, available for free, so share it as much as you want. The goal is really to help every hairdresser to have like more knowledge and to be able like also to help other pros to grow. Second question, while you're doing, Jacob, what if I do a blunt cutting here? Because you said you did like deep cutting on one side. What if I do blunt cutting? Is it possible, or is there's a big red flag here?
I don't think there's a big red flag. I think that you can absolutely do blunt cutting. It's kind of the way that your mind works, right? So if we cut this blunt, let's
okay.
Just for the sake of demonstration,
yes.
We'll do one section,
I'm sure, like,
cut that a little bit shorter,
right?
and go a little bit blunt. So we'll come up. Let's say that we decide that we want to cut that as a blunt cut instead of a point cut. When we watch this drop, if we look at it in this camera, we can see it still gives us that short down to long feeling because of the elevation that we were using.
Yeah.
But the feeling of the edge is going to be a little bit stronger. So let's say someone comes in and they've got the ends of their hair feel too weak already, but they want layers, we can cut it blunt. Or if your mind works like, I like to cut it blunt, then come back and soften it, that's totally fine too.
Fine too, okay. Fantastic.
We're
Any
moving
questions so far? Remember, if you're not reading English, I can translate your question in English. It's very easy for us, so don't be shy. Don't like, oh, I don't want to disturb. More than happy.
We are moving into this back panel now. And again, I'm just clipping things away as I go. This is going to be your crown panel. We're using a slightly diagonal forward section so that this is still connecting behind the ear with that opposite panel. If you look, we've got this clipped away just like that, so you can see from there. We're going to now tilt down even further. I want to tip this girl a little bit more forward. And we're going to see if we can do it in one. Again, if you can't do it in one, remember, I'm only condensing these sections a little bit for the sake of timing. But I'd say do it in as little sections as possible without sacrificing the quality of the haircut. Like, there's no reason to do 500 sections when you have a stationary guide, unless there's just too much hair for you to handle. Then we're going to pick that up. Look how much guide I have in front of my fingers. I got a lot of guide in front of my fingers there so that I can still go deep, deep, deep into this section and create the same texture that I see there in my fingers. And if I don't see it, if I've held my guide too low or too high, then I won't be able to create the same texture. So think of it as a guide for length and a guide for texture right now. We're lifting up away from the corner. So as you look at the side, I've picked all of this hair all the way up. So that elevation like that is what is preserving the length down here at the bottom. So when we let this go, we maintain the length.
What if I miss that elevation and I move I move too much on the side?
So if we pull away from the top, I want you to think about...
Sorry, Jacob, if like the question is stupid, huh?
No,
but
no,
I mean, like maybe someone in the audience are asking it, so I'm just like...
It's a great question, and you know what? We did a hands-on class just an hour ago with a bunch of hairdressers. This question came up because we had an issue with one of the haircuts and we were able to correct it. So I love that question. Remember, wherever you pull the hair and cut it, you keep hair in the opposite direction. So if I pull hair up towards the top, I keep hair down here at the bottom, I take away at the top.
Can you twist a bit the hair in front of the main camera so people can see where we are at? Yes, face the main one, fabulous.
So if I pull this up into the top, we take hair away at the top, we keep hair at the bottom. If I were to accidentally pull this over here,
exactly.
I've pulled away from the top now. That means I've maintained more weight at the top. And when I drop it down, I'll get a bit of a weight line there. Okay. It'll look heavy right there. I have this little saying, it's like a rhyme. If you see weight, elevate. If you see weight that you don't want in a haircut, elevate a little higher, cut again, and see if you've taken out the weight. The higher we lift this up, the softer it's gonna fall. So that's why we're pulling this all the way up. So if you notice that, it looks heavy at the top of your layer, like a little shelf kind of a layer. Maybe you held it a little too far out. Maybe you didn't pull all the way up towards the top. So you maintained more weight at the top of that haircut, and that's an easy fix, nothing to stress out about. So we're gonna keep on pulling everything all the way up to the top. Remember, if you've got a client that has too much hair for you to manage like this, break it down into as many subsections as you need to. Just make sure you maintain that same elevation and angle. All right. And
do you recommend to do many different sections? Or you do it because it's a dolly head and you know how you do it, like you do the haircut quite often?
Well, you know, I think there's a few different things we can think about, like why we should or shouldn't take many sections, right? I think if the hair is too thick and doing everything in one section like that per panel is gonna be inaccurate, like you're not able to control the hair, then you should break it down into more sections. But I think, you know, I work on an hour time slot for all of my clients. So if I end up doing excessive sections that I don't need to, I'll fall behind, and I want to make sure that I'm like working in a good, timely manner.
Efficient way, okay.
I want you guys to look at the layer that's happening right now. I mean, we've literally just taken 1, 2, 3 panels, lifted everything forward and cut short to long, and because of the way that we're cutting on dry hair and the way we prepped the mannequin, we can start to see this beautiful shape happening. And we only have one more step for this haircut left. We're actually just...
And before you move to the last step...
Sure, yeah.
That's the last one, right?
Yeah, we have one more and that's it, yeah.
Don't you feel like when the client is looking at herself in the mirror with dry hair, she looks like she really can project herself and feel secure about this is going to be on me. It's already on you, by the way. But like you don't have to wait for the blow dry to happen to feel like, oh, the haircut is good.
Absolutely.
So I think
that's why we start with the blow dry. So as we cut, the hair is styling itself as we go. I mean, imagine if this client came in and their hair was as dark as mine and they wanted it as light as this. Maybe if we start with the color and then cut their hair wet, they've sat in the chair for 10 hours. They have no idea what anything looks like. Maybe they're not as comfortable. They're stressing out. You start with the haircut like this on blown out or styled or even curled hair. They're going to see their end result right away. They're going to feel that much more comfortable with it as we go, going into your color services with even more confidence. So the last section here is just vertical sections through the back.
Okay.
Because we pulled all of this forward, we know we saved hair back here. We're just taking one vertical section through the back, pivoting around at 90 degrees, seeing if there's a little bit of extra length, and then we're just softly going to connect that length in, just pivoting all the way through the back. Now, the color placement is going to be really important with this. The way that we did a darker to medium to light, a lot of the time with the partial in the past, you pack in a lot of foils through the top, you leave the bottom dark, you layer through, and you end up with a line of light and then dark hair underneath. The placements we use in conjunction with the cutting patterns that we use are guaranteeing that we're still getting that nice blend of dark down to light with every single one of our panels. So that's why it's important for us to pre-plan our color and make it match with the haircut so we don't have any funny stopping points where this color lands that we don't like.
Okay, very cool.
And just like that, with only, let's say 3.5 sections, we've been able to create a beautiful, classic, simple, long layer that any client is gonna love. And it also gives you some really fun and wonderful ponytail options once they put their hair up as well.
For the audience, you have, remember, you just had like the sectioning on the screen, and you had like the diagrams for the different steps. Section number 1, section number 2, section number 3 when you elevated, and of course you just had also the color sectioning that was showed like a minute ago with the recipe. Would you still use the sectioning on a shorter version of the haircut?
Could I do the same sectioning of the haircut for shorter hair?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you could do the same sectioning for shorter hair. Something you have to think about is that this creates a pretty dramatic short to long feeling. So if we were to do this on shorter hair and we cut the layers very short, it's going to make things look a bit flat and then long at the bottom. So you could do this, but maybe you could follow the shape of the head a little bit more.
Okay.
Pull up and then follow things, and it will balance the shape for shorter hair.
Before we finish this look, I have one question I'd like to share with you. We are here on the long layers, and when you do a layer, that cut, you know, to me it's impressive. I used to be a hairdresser, but not anymore. When I see you taking like that much elevation and cutting straight, I feel, wow, he looks very self-secure. Like, is there one tip, one trick you'd like to share with the audience, with like the hundreds and really like the thousands of people watching us on live right now, that you would like to share? What is like the trick that like, what is the thing you need to keep in mind when you're doing a haircut like this?
The thing I think that I hear from clients, like, and we talked about this before, complaints that I hear from clients about hairdressers is that we get a little bit scissor happy. So you're saying, oh, I'm cutting a lot of hair very confidently, but what you want to make sure you've done is discussed exactly what lengths you need for these layers with your client in advance. Like, don't waste the consultation. Get deep into the consultation so you know exactly what they want. Clients think like, oh, I want bangs, and then you just cut their bangs right away, and you haven't discussed it. And then they're going to make a TikTok about you, and it's going to be a whole mess. It's going to be viral, and you're going to lose your whole career. So you want to make sure that you're 100% sure about the lengths. So dive into the consultation more. Don't just start cutting.
Okay, fantastic. So we're back with this, with the consultation. Do we have any questions from our friends? Did you learn something here? Yeah? What was it, for example? Oh, excuse me. I forgot, like, the production is yelling at me like, the microphone is for you. You're welcome. If you want, once again, if you want to do it in French, I can translate for the audience. That's easy, don't worry.
Okay. The fact that you put the hair around the face, and it's very easy with your pair of scissors. Do you always work with this pair of scissors, or you have some biggest pair or
longest?
Yeah, so I prefer to use a 5.5-inch pair of scissors, but sometimes I'll use a 7-inch as well if I'm just like feeling wild and crazy, you know? I think there's not really a right and wrong, like, oh, you should use a long pair of scissors for this, use a short pair of scissors for this. I hear people saying like, oh, I use short for precision, I use long for big changes. But I think really it's personal preference. Like, I just almost always use the small scissor my whole career, so I use a small scissor for everything, like, as I go. But you could do the same thing with a big scissor and get the same result. Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. Any more questions? Shall we move on? Amazing. So, thank you, Jacob. Just like, can we have a look again at our two models? So
sure.
We leave our model on. Very silent girl on the back. And as you can see, you were saying about like the color earlier, how to plan to have already the lights at a certain place and the dark at the negative space.
Exactly. Like, why don't we have you guys turn around for me here? So we're going to show the back of your hair to the camera. So when we did these placements, like, I think an old school way of placing color is where everyone's doing these partial foils where they're putting a lot of foil in the crown and then the underneath is dark. We essentially did the opposite of that. We're doing most of our lightness underneath and then medium lightness and then our deepest tones on the top, so that when we layer through this, because you can see when we bring this back, we do have a good bit of shorter layers in here, but we're not getting any funny stopping points where, oh, there's a dark piece and then a light piece underneath, creating that contrast that you don't want to see. So making those sort of changes, placing your color exactly where you need to, so you get that flow from darker tones into lighter tones, is going to be really important. And you know, one other thing I wanted to show is that even though I cut both of them, we'll have you turn back around. I cut both of them the way that I cut the mannequin. We have two very, very different feelings in their style. They both like had that sort of soft, razory scissor cutting, but we can get something kind of classic and glamorous, or we can get something beachy, soft, and like more everyday and undone. The texture in the ends is just gonna add to when you want those more undone days, but it's not so much that you can't make it polished and work for something a little more glam.
Once again, on the screen, you have all the technical step-by-step, how did you do the precision application of the highlights and the toner.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, the placement of this color is going to be 3 circular panels. We have our highlights all the way to the scalp in the front. Then in our second panel, we start to space the highlights out, feather a little bit, and back comb. And then through the top panel, we're just doing tip outs. Afterwards, we did a little bit of a color melt for her. We used the 6N at her base from Color, and then into our ends we're using, let me make sure I'm not saying the wrong tones here. I've written it down because I'm still getting used to the numbers. I'm trying to get to not say letters.
Yeah, for the people that doesn't know, in the US, you don't have numbers, you have letters.
I think we have both, but I'm just like so used to the numbers. But and through her mids and ends, we used a 982 and a 1032 with a 9 volume from Color as well. And for her, we did exactly the same placement, but for her base, we're using more of a 7, and then through her ends, we're actually mixing, where did it go? Our 1032 for every ounce of 1023. We're mixing 5 grams of a 723 to make that 10 a little deeper to give me the pigment I needed, because again, she was only lifted to a 9, and I was afraid the 10 wouldn't have quite the punch to give her the tone we were looking for.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, my dears. Thank you very much. And you can join the team over there. We'll see you back in a minute. And while you're coming out, our next models with the Shag team is coming in. Thank you. Congratulations. And thank you. Welcome, my dears. And so, Jacob, can you help us to go through the different techniques that you've been using?
Yes, absolutely.
While you're speaking, Jacob, on the line, online, you will have access to the before picture, the different step-by-step video for the technique, and of course, with the recipe.
So what we've done is taken those same circular panels where we're working or following the shape of the head round, but instead of doing this soft lived-in dimension, we're creating more contrast and more bold dimension. She came in with regrowth and a bunch of like silver mature hairs, we'll say, that needed to be covered, and her ends were dark. And she said, I like to be dark. I'd rather not go lighter than I am right now. So for her, we used Color at her base. We used, a 5.3 and, our 5 end through her base here. And then through the front, we used Majorelle to create this little bit of copper shine. And
lift a little bit. You needed Majorelle to lift a little bit.
Yes, because she had a little bit of regrowth here, I wanted to see that copper coming out from the base a little more. So we used the Majorelle to get the lift we needed. And we were using our 7.3 with a little 6.34 and then just same formula in Light through the ends that were already a little bit lighter. And you can see, again, you'll see all of your formulas there if you need to reference back to that. And we place this color in the areas of the haircut that I want to have the focus on, right? So for a shag, it's all about the face frame, it's all about the bangs, it's all about drawing attention to this roundness around the face. So by adding these lighter coppery tones there, it kind of sucks you in right away. And this is bold, but still kind of subtle. Not too crazy, not too loud. She can still go to work and not get fired, you know, but it's still pretty fun.
Thank God.
Now, for her, we went a little bit more bold. The same panels as far as that horizontal panel around the face, but rather than doing the entire thing, what we did is do block panels that are offset. So we have our pre-lightened panels here and here, and we're actually using our Blonde Studio toning. Let me make sure I say the name right, because it's my first week using it ever. Our purple lightning balm from Blonde Studio with our 20 volume. And then we didn't tone her hair afterwards. So the pre-lightening you see here is just from the tone that the lightener is giving us. So it's saving us a little bit of a step and giving her this kind of soft, natural color. And then for the all over, we used our 6.8 with 15. And then just to give her this little bit of a deeper, richer kind of tone. Here. And really, I really love this sort of placement because we have to pick a specific place so that everything falls where it needs to. For instance, if we put her hair up, I wanted to make sure that the ponytail actually had some of the blonde that would come out on that side. I didn't want to put her hair up and have it all be stopping up through here. I want to see it coming all the way down to these pieces that fall out. So when I took this panel, I didn't just take a triangle in the bangs. I took that triangle you see in the diagram and I shifted it down just a little bit. And then we took one more of those triangles and we placed it here besides the ear that came behind the ear a little bit, just to make sure that this lightness came all the way down to the perimeter and we weren't getting funny stopping points. So again, we want to make sure we're planning out our color and our haircut together so we know exactly where everything is going to fall. And you know, with all the tools that we have from L'Oreal Color, we're able to create this like soft, dimensional dark color, and this incredibly low maintenance for the hairdresser lightening application process. We don't even have to tone after we do it. So it's pretty fun.
Happy you discovered like the balm.
Yeah, I just walked over and found it.
Yeah, it's not sold everywhere, so yeah.
We don't have it. Yeah, we don't have it in the U.S. So I'm putting a few in my luggage and I'm taking it back with me. So
okay, for sure, no problem. Okay, shall we have the model so you can start the demonstration?
Perfect. We'll have you guys come over to the side here. Now we're going to switch now from a scissor to a razor for this haircut. I know everyone's asking you for a shag. The shags are not going anywhere. They're here to stay. But remember, something I always think about when we're teaching haircuts is we don't want to teach you a haircut. I want to teach you to cut hair. So every little step of a haircut, like you can mix and match and create your own thing.
Wait, what's the difference between I don't want to teach you a haircut, I want to teach you how to cut hair?
Yeah.
Could you go, because it like refers to several conversations we had already today with different hairdressers. Would love you, let's take a minute on this.
So when I say I want to teach you how to cut hair, I don't want to teach you a haircut, is that if you have a full understanding about haircutting, you're going to feel more confident, more capable, and you'll be able to handle any trend or anything that happens along the way. If I just teach you a haircut, like, oh, I learned the shag, maybe you can do the shag, but can you take that fringe and put it on a bob? Can you put it on a one length? Can you do a long layer, but you want to add a curtain bang to it? So remembering that every little step of these haircuts is interchangeable and you can mix and match with it. Even for our models, I mean, this is the same haircut. I'm using the same placements. The difference is I worked on her hair dry with her natural curl, and I did it with a scissor. On her hair, we did it wet with a razor, but I did all of the same angles, sectioning, and patterns. Maybe a little bit less weight in her bangs because she was afraid of having too heavy bangs.
Okay.
But still, same placements, you know?
So it's more thinking about the process, the method, and understanding like the geometry rather than just the pure steps. The
overall understanding of haircutting so that you can be a great haircutter and make your own haircuts. You don't have to learn mine, you can make your own, you know?
Okay, super.
Perfect. So now what we're going to do, we'll create our pre-sectioning. It's almost the same start as our first haircut, where we're taking out this triangle shape from the round of the head to the corner of the eyebrow, and we'll clip that forward for just a moment here. And then this is just going to be a few simple panels. So from the corners of that triangle, if we look at the corners there, we're going to create a horseshoe section that connects those corners around through the crown. So just following the parietal ridge. Again, you know I love to say the bones of the head so that I can feel like I went to college and my parents will be proud of me.
I hope they will. There's a question on the chat, Media, who's like, they want to know, it's difficult for me to grasp a cutting fringe like a bang. When do we have to disconnect the top section and the rest, and how far do we have to pick for the fringe?
Okay, so how far back do we go for the bangs?
Triangle.
And like, how do we know where to stop this sectioning? Yeah. So really, my thought is, where does the head start to round down a little bit? And then if we stop at kind of the corner of the eyebrow or the indentation there, this is the hair that will naturally sit forward onto the forehead. Okay. If we make that deeper or wider, some of that hair might sit on the side. And you can do that. I mean, some of these shags, like the whole haircut is bangs. Like instead of here, the bangs, they start at the center, like small of your back, and then they come, every single hair is put into the bangs. So you can do that. But using this sectioning is gonna be the most low maintenance, effortless way to do it, because that will be the hair that falls into place. She came in after her first cut with the same pattern, air dried from like just washing it, and it was already like sitting perfectly without her doing any styling. And that's really due to the texture and the placement that we have for these panels.
So once again, you have to adapt to your texture. Don't go, if you go too far, you might have, so just look at the natural pattern of the hair, basically. That would be the ideal response.
Looking at the shape of the head, the pattern of the hair, and like, you know, sometimes the hair will really, really tell you. It'll say, oh, it doesn't want to part on the side. It wants to part a little further over, and I'll adjust to the natural growth patterns. But for almost everybody, just about this placement will work perfectly. All right, so for the bangs now, what we're going to do is we're going to split them in half down the center, and then we're just going to split horizontally across. Now, bangs, they get really overcomplicated on the internet. You know, a lot of people are doing a lot of really crazy stuff with bangs. Like you'll see people doing all sorts of twisting and turning and tying and stuff. But really, the simplest thing about these bangs is that they're just short in the middle, and then they get longer out to the side. So what we're going to do is pull down to 45 degrees. We're going to use the bridge of the nose as a guide. We'll lift to that 45. We're going to bring in our razor. we connect with light pressure, we move the razor, and then we're gonna slide out from the bridge of the nose out to maybe the cheek. And whenever we're cutting, we know that short hair kind of pushes long hair around, right? So if this is really nice and short to long, when I give this a little push, we should see those bangs like just start to style themselves. It really shouldn't be too much trouble. You shouldn't have to work too hard to make that happen. Now you're gonna do the other side. We'll take a guide from the first side. We'll pull this down, 45 degrees. So we're not lifting up too high if we don't want to touch their face and cut their nose off. So we're gonna lift up.
What does that lift will bring you?
What's the what? I'm sorry?
What does the lift that the angle of 45 degrees do bring you?
Okay, so we know when we're cutting, we have lines, layers, graduation. Yeah. All those things are controlled by your elevation, right? So if I hold this up really, really high, when it falls, it's gonna fall in a more layered way, and it's gonna kind of like layer out and be a little bit softer. If I'm holding at 45 degrees, we can start to build weight in these bangs a little bit, and we get more definition in the bang. Besides that, having a small amount of elevation off the face is a good thing just to make sure that your razor does not connect with your client's face. Like
that's a good reason. Okay.
we say
not cutting your client's face is a good reason.
I work with a hairdresser named Ben, and he says no free nose jobs in the salon. That costs extra. So we have to make sure we lift up to 45. But again, that will start to build a little bit of bolder shape for us in the bang, and then we'll connect now to that section underneath. I'm kind of always wanting to be styling as I go. So each section that I cut, I'm giving that a little push and just making sure that the angle is working. If it doesn't want to style, it doesn't push to the side, it's going to possibly have too square of an angle, or it might have a long piece in the center that's disrupting the movement a little bit. And then you just need to check and see, like, oh, did I accidentally leave something a little bit long? All right, so we're getting our fringe worked out here. We can start to see, we get this nice kind of soft face framey shape happening in our bangs. And she's got a little cowlick, of course. All these mannequins have a little baby cowlick, but it's working out great. Then we're gonna move on to our internal panel here and start to create our face framing with the shag. So we've got a guide from the corner of the fringe. Like the bangs is gonna be the guide right there. We're gonna take a slightly diagonal back section. We're gonna pull this section forward and use the corner of the bangs as our starting point. We have to slide past the guide. So here's the guide, I slide just past it. I connect my razor with this section. I get it moving, and with light pressure, I start to slide all the way down to...
And we ask the production also, please, to
yes.
guys, can you put the diagram, please, on the screen so people can also
we can show our second
projection. Exactly that one.
Yep.
Understand the projection. Okay, yes. As you can see, we'll go left and right like symmetrical.
Yes, so those sections will end up
frontward.
As you go back, those sections will end up crossing over. And you'll notice one little thing that we're doing differently for the mannequin, just for, again, the sake of time of the live, is that I'm gonna pull everything all the way to the front rather than following the shape of the head around. But when you're at home, you have options of either pulling everything forward or following the shape. So for instance, right now, as we pull this forward, we're gonna maintain more weight here in the back. If someone has a lot of hair, a lot of density, maybe what I would do is my next section, I would come here. My next section, I would come here. I would follow the shape of the head around. And by doing that, we're gonna take out more weight and kind of skinny the shape out more if we need it to be skinny.
So you wanna preserve the hair quantity, you project it.
Yes, if we want to preserve the hair quantity, then we will pull it all forward. We always say, like, wherever you pull hair, remember, if you pull hair in a direction and cut it, you're gonna keep hair in the opposite direction. So if I pull this forward and cut it, I'll keep hair back here. But if I follow the shape of the head around as I go, I will take more and more weight out, and we'll kind of like remove more weight in the back and in the sides. So the same thing on this side, where we're just pulling everything forward, stationary guide, and trying to find our way down, all the way down to the length by that first or second section. If you end up cutting this a little too short, like if this panel ends up here, or maybe even like a little deeper, ends up here, we start to leave the world of a shag and we start to enter the world of a mullet. Now, I think a mullet is pretty cool. We get a lot of mullets, but again, we always say a mullet is only cool if you wanted a mullet. If you got one and you didn't want it, It's a little bit less cool. So make sure you preserve the front corner, and then they'll feel like their hair is long, you know. Okay, so we're starting to get our shape. We also start to see some pretty cool options for a ponytail.
That's exactly what's happening on the chat. The fringe and the front layer looks already like super cool. Congratulations and thank you for sharing.
It's so nice that you can see such big changes, I think, with such little, not no effort, but it's so not complicated to get it there.
There was a question on how do you know when on the angles, how do you know how to connect or to disconnect?
Okay.
When do you disconnect and when do you think you have to connect?
Well, I think it really just depends on how much you want to open up the face when you're connecting to this or disconnecting. And you can disconnect in two different ways. If we connect to the bangs, we're going to open up the face a good bit as things come down. If we're like, you know what, we don't want to open this area up as much, we want to keep a little bit more weight there, maybe I would find the bangs, I would slide down a little lower, and then I would start my guide a little bit lower.
Okay.
Nothing forces you to connect it. But another way that you could do it, you want to open up things even more, I could push the bangs forward, I could start my face frame even shorter than the bangs up here, and that will really open things up and expose their whole face, which is good and sometimes not good, depending on
it depends on what you want to do. Once again, there's not like one recipe, like one size fits all.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really like understanding what will happen when you do it. So if we disconnect, we keep more weight. If we connect, we take out more. If we disconnect high, we take out even more. So we've got our top panel drop down now. This is going to be the panel that freaks you out. Like if you are a hairdresser or a client and you don't have a lot of layers and you want to shag, this is going to be the panic panel because a lot of hair is going to come off. So we've got our peak of our bangs here. And what we're going to do now is move one step back. Maybe we could get the next step of the diagram up there for our listeners as well, our watchers. So what we'll do is we're going to take vertical sections now through this panel. There we go. And we're going to pull everything up over the top. I want you to see your guides really well for this. So when we pull this up over the top, you're going to pick up a little bit of your face frame, and you're going to pick up a little bit of your bangs. So when we do this, we'll see we've got our guide right here from our face frame, and then we've got our guide right here from our bangs. So guide there, and then our guide there. And we want to connect the dots together. So all of this hair in the middle, we're going to connect this to this. So that's a lot of hair coming off, and that is why they're going to freak out.
Pressure.
But remember, they asked you for a shag. It is not your fault. It is their fault. So your elevation is going to be flat like this. So we're going to turn this flat and pull this forward. What I want you to think about is you should be able to set something right on top of it and have it like stay there. Like if you were at an angle, you know, this would fall off. So you want to be like that. And then if you drop a comb, you just go, perfect. And now it's perfectly cleansed. So you want to have it flat, like parallel to the ground. We'll pull this forward. We're going to start off with our bangs here. We're going to use the longest stroke of the razor we've used so far over this entire cut. We want to have a lot of texture in this section. And as we move down, we're going to continue to pick up our face frame.
Okay, so you bring up like the section after section.
And then there's that face frame right there, and we just slide and connect.
So that front,
to the face frame.
that front part, the first segment that you do, is really guiding you all the way through.
Absolutely. You know, we talk about the bangs of this haircut as really like the design line for the rest of the cut. Everything is based off the length of the bangs. So if your bangs are very short and you use them for a guide for the rest of this cut, the rest of your layers are going to be very short. So you can kind of determine that. And some people will say like, oh, what if I want really short layers and long bangs? I always think it's funny to have like maybe shorter layers on the interior and then long bangs. There's something about the flow that I don't love. But remember, if you love it, do it. Totally fine. It's all about how it makes you feel, not about how it makes me feel. And there are no rules. Like you can do whatever you want, you know?
It's fun. You insist a lot on this, like there's no rule. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's no rules in fashion necessarily. It's like, you can do it.
Fully agree.
So as we move back, we've got vertical sections. They start to become horizontal sections. They're going to follow the shape of the head down, and everything's going to come up and over the top. So we've got a vertical section there, combing up over the top. When you're working with a razor, you're working outside of your fingers. So I want to show you a great way you can find your guide. If we can get a little close up on this section here, what we can see when I bring this out is that little shift right there. If we can get a close-up on that section, beautiful. You can see right through that, and that is the guide right there, that hair right there. So as we work outside of our fingers, we want to slide just past that, find that shift in density, and then connect to it with that long stroke of the razor. Remember, like the length of the stroke of the razor is what kind of determines the texture. Really, really long stroke is going to be very soft. A short stroke is going to be a stronger, more blunt line. And we're just connecting that in on both sides.
That's pretty amazing.
Next one comes up over the top. We'll connect it in, and we'll start to maybe speed up a little bit here just to make sure we have enough time to get through everything. Even on the sides, I'm lifting that up tall, connecting to my face frame. We probably only have one more section on each side that will come down past the crown and come up over the top. We're just basically working until this hair doesn't want to reach that section anymore. So next one, come up over the top. Sorry, I blocked the view a little bit there. We're coming up over the top. So make sure you don't come down and around to the side. If you do that, it's gonna sit a little bit heavier. It's gonna save more weight at the top, and it's not gonna feel as shaggy. If you have somebody with not a lot of density, you could absolutely bring it all down and around to the side, get something kind of like the shag, but maybe not quite matching the style all the way. Okay, so this is my favorite moment of the shag. I'll sometimes call this haircut the hoodie, because when you're done with it, if we look at all of the hair combed forward, it looks like they've got their hood up and they're wearing a hoodie, like all this hair kind of like jumping up over the top. And then we're gonna air dry it with a very sophisticated technique. We're gonna shake it out. That's what you're gonna do with your client. You just put them in a rock tumbler. And then really people see me do that on a mannequin. They're like, well, how am I supposed to do that with a client? I'm like, well, just, you know, shake their hair, have them shake their head around a little bit, you know? And what we get in just a few simple panels is we get a really beautiful, like kind of 70s-esque shaggy shape that everybody is asking for right now. Just such a simple way to do that. If you really think about what we did, all we did was cut short to long in the bangs. We cut short to long in the face frame. We brought everything up over the top, and we cut short to long again. So it's just these concave angles with you standing in one place, working throughout the shape of the head.
Everything starts from here.
Everything starts from the center and just works out longer from there, which is why I love to start in the front.
Long, short to long.
Exactly.
45-degree elevation and project everything on it.
Yes, very, very simple, but very impactful.
Okay, well, pretty cool.
The shag, everyone.
The shag. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up and applause. I stand up and applause. Congratulations, Jacob, for this amazing look.
Well,
any question from the audience? Once again, I'll translate. You're fine? Okay, cool. Congratulations. Congratulations. There's lots of questions online. One of them being, would you use the same technique on thick or thin hair?
Okay, that's a great question. Would I use the same technique on thick hair and thin hair? Well, we know that the movement of the razor is what's taking out weight. So if the hair is very, very thin, I might shrink the stroke down to be a little bit of a shorter stroke.
Shorter movement?
Yes, smaller movement of the razor so that we're getting a stronger line.
Okay.
If the hair is very, very thick, I might lengthen up even more. I might even go in and notch weight out first and then cut the line. But the thing is, you have to ask your clients how they want to feel. I have some clients that I would consider their hair, like I say, skinny instead of thin. That I would consider it skinny already, but they want me to make it super, super tenderly skinny on the sides. Or like you have clients with very, very thick hair that don't want you to take any weight out. But then you have the other client that has endless amounts of hair and they want you to take weight out all day. That's why they're there. So remember, this is the art. This is one of the only arts where your canvas will get up and say it doesn't like it, you know? So you don't have full artistic license. We have to talk to them and figure out what do they want to feel like. And then we can figure out the vibe, the emotion of the haircut and try to make them feel like on the outside, like the way they like see it on the inside, you know?
Fantastic. Amazing. Already like lots of questions. You already like answered to many of them. There's one question on like, why using a razor rather than using scissors? I think it's like, we've heard that question many times.
So yeah, why a razor over a scissor? Well, a razor is going to be a very direct and easy way to do this. We're able to blend short links into long links really easily that way. A scissor, you can do it. Like we could cut the same way we did our long layer where we're carving with the scissor so it feels like a razor. But your body position, it makes it a little bit harder. With the razor, it's just very seamless and easy. But if you don't like a razor or your client doesn't like a razor, you could do the same sectioning and angles with a scissor. That's totally fine.
Okay, fantastic. All right, great. I'm going to leave this here because like there's the chat is going on, still people talking. We're good on that so far. So we can like say thank you to our models. Thank you very much for you. You can go back and join your colleagues, and we'll call you back in 3 minutes while we are cleaning the floor. Okay, reminds me of my childhood in the salon. If there's like one tip of advice I would like to give to hairdressers in a business talk, in a money talk, what would be like the type of advice you can give, like maybe to the younger generation? Sorry, we're going out a bit of the long layer and the shag, but you're very successful. You have many of young hairdressers from US, Mexico, Brazil, Jakarta, even if it's late. Hello, Jakarta, it's very late for you. On the chat, there's lots of people from everywhere. You have a young community in front of you. What would be your advice?
You know, the thing that I feel like made me very successful, and I mean, we talked about this downstairs earlier, was the moment that I stopped like waiting for other people to make me successful is the moment I actually started to become successful. I used to have this mindset of like, someone needs to teach me, someone needs to put me on stage, like when is a brand gonna wanna work with me? But the moment I was like, okay, we're gonna plan a class, we're gonna put ourselves on stage.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, like to make myself responsible for my success and not like wait around for it to just fall into my lap. Like even in the salon, I think, especially when you get out of school, you think, oh, the salon will have clients, they'll put someone in my chair. Wrong way of thinking. Like you need to be very, very ambitiously looking for clients, putting it in your chair, making it your responsibility. And the same thing with any other type of success you want, whether it's social media or education or working with brands or whatever, you've got to chase it down. You've got to make it happen on your own.
So responsibility is, your success is your responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. Put that on a bumper sticker.
Okay.
L'Oreal's selling those bumper stickers.
Yeah, I'll do that. So,
$500 a piece.
Okay. Your success is your and only yours responsibility.
Yes.
Was it good, like?
Yeah.
If we can edit that to make like a mini like TikTok content. My dears, while we are ending, right before ending, I'd like to welcome back our 4 models, please, ladies. And here we are carving with the long layers. We're having also the shags for the team. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you for your patience. It's nearly the end of our Tech Talks. We are ending we're moving towards the end. I'm sure you want more. I'm sure you want more because you need more. You all want to know how to do French highlight. What is French highlight? It's a simple, easy plug-and-play technique to really make highlights more profitable in the salon. When will you be able to do that? On September the 14th. On September the 14th, live from Le Visionnaire here on the Dome of Paris. You'll be able to discover Adina Pignatar in our next Tech Talk. And you know what? He has a message for you. Adina, mic is yours.
I'm having a tech talk on September 14th at the Le Visionnaire. During this masterclass, I'm going to teach you about French highlights, which is an efficient placement to be able to fit everyone's budget when it comes to adding in dimension. Stay tuned.
Please note it on your agenda. Save the date, September the 14th. As you are with your agenda, please, you want to see more of Jacob, you want to see more shag and long layer, Jacob will be live on another Tech Talk, not from Paris. That's enough for Paris. But from New York. So from New York, we'll be able to be together with you, Jacob and I, from New York Academy on October the 11th. October the 11th. So there's 2 dates, September 14th and October 11th. Please mark it in your agenda. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you very much, ladies. Also, a big thank you for all the team that are backstage. Hello, the team that are backstage. Can you say hello? Hello. Maybe we can have like a turnaround and we can see like the few teams on the backstage. Amazing. Thanks a lot for all the preps. It was really like a cool moment. Can we maybe have like, I don't know, we have Shweta, because you've been like facilitating. Could you come with us, please,
Yeah,
Shweta?
sure,
You've been facilitating the whole afternoon, the all hands-on. It was really like a very important mission. Thanks a lot. And you know what? We normally call the rest of the team, but like there's a bit some of everywhere. There's someone that started today a big mission with us. It was a real pleasure to work with you. Please, Sophia, stop taking Instagram pictures. Come with us a minute. It will be great. Yeah, don't be shy. Oh, she's gonna be flash. She's gonna be flash. She's gonna flash. And so, thank you for your time. We have right behind Noémie, our chat manager, with Iles, who's also working with her. Thank you for L'Ensemble, who's the production company making this live possible. Thank you very much for attending this Tech Talk. At the end of the Tech Talk, on the link, on the chat, you will have the link to connect to a survey. It is crucial. It's not important. Important is like too low level. It is crucial for us to have your opinion. We need to know what you think about what is the job we are doing. Is it good? Is it okay? Is it bad? So please, you have the opportunity to tell us what you think on this survey. At the end of the survey, you will have a little gift, because you will be able to create an avatar for your certification that you will be able to post online. You'll look cooler than ever, and we'll be able also to repost some of them on our global Instagram account. Oh, they are here. They left the moderation, so don't ask any more questions. Please, I would love also to welcome, because they are part of the game. I'd like to welcome Noémie. She's the girl of the chat. She's the girl of the chat. She's doing like the click, click, click. She's also the one that invented the survey and the avatar. And Iles, please, Iles, that makes our visibility stronger than ever. So here is the Tech Talk team. Thank you very much for all your attention. We love you. Thank you for all our guests. And now you know what? It's champagne time. Have a wonderful day over the world. Bye-bye. Thank you. See you. Thank you, guys.